I want to talk about I want to talk about how my experience was with actually being comfortable, being single and being fine with my own company, and not really not really like seeking a dating life, but still open to it, but just not someone that's like actively looking for somebody to date because I actually have a life. I don't want to say it like that because that kind of sounds like, but it's like, well, I actually like have things to focus on that I've always wanted to focus on now. Um, and I think that these are things that I always knew that I was gonna like do, but I knew that in order for me to do these things, it required for me to not be in a relationship right now at the moment. Um so I guess I can start with like how I recently got out of a relationship back in like 2000, it was 2024. Wait, it's 2025, right? I got out of a relationship around like 2024, around spring. I'm gonna just say spring 2024. That was an on and off relationship that um I enjoyed it, but then there were things about it that I just knew like, okay, this is not what I want for myself. Um so I can say that like, yeah, I still enjoyed that person to a degree, but there are still things that I just realized, like, like every relationship. What I do like about relationships, I will say this, is that I grow through them. So I look at like relationships as like a way to like get to know myself better, because there's only so much you're really going to know about yourself, or so much that you can there's only so much that you could truly see about yourself until you are with somebody else, and then they also kind of like um serve back to you whatever you're dishing out. So I do think that relationships should help people regardless of if they were like negative or positive. I really do think that you should be able to take something away from every relationship that you're in, or every dynamic that you're in. But yeah, I recently actually was in one, and the whole lore behind that, I don't know if I'll ever talk about it, but I'm sure one of these days I'll be ready to, but not now. It was kind of crazy though, because yeah, it was an on and off relationship any damn way. It was already kind of like flaky because of me. But one thing that I do remember about being in that relationship is me, like, towards the end, being honest with myself about what I wanted. And pretty much whenever I broke up with that person, um we had multiple breakups. So I guess that just for context. But whenever I was really ready to break up, I was like, you know what? To myself, I said, I know that I want to be a specific kind of woman, and the specific kind of woman that I want to be, you know, sure, it might change down the line, but at least right now in this moment, like, I know what I would like for myself. And that just means like, I don't, I'm not saying that it entails, I'm not saying that I couldn't go after my goals and aspirations and stuff and complete them while being with this person or in a relationship. But what I'm saying is that I know that I at least don't need to be here in order to be there. Like, I know enough to know like I can't be here though. And that's a really mature thing to have to like come to and like tell somebody, or like um tell yourself, cuz you still have like some type of emotional attachment or whatnot to people, and they still have it to you. And um, also, I think that sometimes like I tend to rip the band-aid off. I noticed that about myself without like easing into it, because there's really, I mean, technically there can be a right time to say things, but sometimes with me, I just feel like, yo, this is on my heart. It's really heavy, so I need to like let you know this, because you're never gonna want to hear it, but I am the person that will just tell you. Now, will it be in like the most crazy ass, random ass time? No. Like if I know that there's other things going on right now, then yeah, it can wait. But all I'm saying is like there really is not a perfect time to tell people the truth other than when you just finally tell the truth and it's like, okay, well, that was the time. So yeah, all I'm saying is that that was a part of my realization. That was a realization that I had for myself. And funny enough, I think that whenever I would always kind of like, whenever this would come up as a conversation, because this wasn't the first conversation that I had, but I think that I always kind of like would beat around the bush with this with my ex about like wanting to not be together or whatever. Um and it seeming like it was always about like something that he was doing, or he would think like, oh well, that might just mean that you want to be with somebody that isn't what I am. And I'm like, without it being about, oh, I'm looking for like, I feel like in his mind it was like she's looking for something that I'm not. She's looking for the ultimate guy that I see a lot of women trying to go after when they reach a certain age, whatever, 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 and it's like, that's not, it was, I think, I'm not gonna lie, I think it was partially true. Like I could tell that like, okay, I'm outgrowing certain things. So yes, I might desire like this type of companion or this type of dating life or this type of relationship. But also I told myself, and I also realized that it's not about me looking for anything within anyone, because how the hell am I gonna leave you, my current boyfriend? How the heck am I gonna leave my current boyfriend and then be like, well, you're not what I want, let me go get what I want out of like this other person? But I know that like in order for me to get access or actually want or attract that other person, like there's certain things that I gotta work on in order for me to even, and then on top of that, I'm trying to figure out like, I stopped really wanting things out of people. Um but that's just a whole nother conversation for another day. Like that's a little bit more advanced, because that kind of does require um a little bit of detachment and like not really having the same kind of like I don't know, like same expectations that you would usually place on somebody that you would be in a relationship with. Yeah. I always hated that he tried to make it seem like it was about me trying to go after somebody else or get somebody else because he was inadequate in certain ways, which wasn't true. I think that I definitely had a way of like making him feel, I'm not perfect. I definitely had a way of making him feel like he was not enough in some shape or form. And the same was done to me too. But I still knew that I want to be a certain kind of person that is a lot more secure, a lot more content, a lot more emotionally stable, a lot more mentally healthy, and naturally just goes after and like stays and contributes and is committed to being a overall creative, which is who I am. By the relationships that I'm thinking about, like the relationship that I'm thinking about, I knew enough to know that by being here, I can't really exude myself how I would want. And that can be a lot of different layers to that I won't get into because I feel like it's real personal. But either way it goes, I knew that enough, and I knew that instead of instead of trying to make instead of trying to make that person feel shitty, instead of trying to like inadvertently, because I'm doing it without trying, make that person feel some type of way or feel like they got to change themselves to appease me. I rather, I personally wanted to just not put expectations on that person and just put the expectation put the expectation on myself to just be what I am, be what I already want to be, and not go out looking um don't go out looking for someone to be something or placing certain expectations on them that they can't fulfill. They can't fulfill this. This is not something, and on top of that, like the expectations that you have or maybe that I had at that time that I wanted was also in kind of deriving from like um a patriarchal kind of mindset any damn way, you know? So yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Anywho, instead of me, because really when you think about it, it's like you leave somebody, you leave a relationship because you desire a different kind of relationship that you feel like is better or a little bit more high quality. Is there anything wrong with that? No. You want what you want, right? But if you leave one relationship and jump right into another relationship, I don't know. I mean, are you do you think that you're the premises on why you even left that old relationship in the first place might be based on something kind of shallow and not as like not having like a certain amount of like integrity and quality behind it that I would like. So I dated someone shortly after that was already kind of in the mix before me and that person, my ex, actually like no longer contacted each other. So that person was the person that I was dating. They were kind of in the mix already. Not in the mix as in like knowing me and my ex, but like in my social environment. And then we realized that we liked each other, so then we started dating, right? Um and I'm gonna just say we were attracted to each other. I'm not even gonna say that we really liked each other because in order for you to really like someone, you gotta actually get to know them, right? So I think as we were getting to know each other, I realized that, hey, I'm not necessarily practicing the same code that I would want to practice that would require me to be the kind of woman that I want to be, which means first of all, allow things to build up slowly. Um you don't know people. You just don't know people. You got to like take your time. And I think that um I kind of opened up the atmosphere for that dating style to be too casual, to be a little too like, oh, we could see each other often, or, like there's not really much that we got to do when we hang out. We can just be together and like as long as I'm around you, I'm fine. Like I didn't really feel like that, but I think I was opening the door for that person to feel like that because I wasn't I had to realize like, oh my gosh, like I'm setting the tone. So I got to set the tone and be have these boundaries, have these standards for myself. All this extra stuff, right? So I briefly talked about that with that person too. And then on top of like just okay, now I'm communicating that I would prefer that. But at this point, it's like, damn, you didn't already, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't already kind of gotten comfortable in a way, not any type of like real sexual intimacy, like a kiss here and there and shit, but not nothing that's like, okay, this is too far gone. We can't come back from this. But like, kind of just like, okay, like this is the tone that I should have set to begin with. So because this was a new experience for me, with that person, it made it very, yeah, it was it wasn't the same. It wasn't the fucking same, yo. And I blame this on the fact that that was a woman, and I had to kind of like remind myself that just because it's a woman don't mean that the same rules don't apply. But when you're dating someone of the same sex, is like for the first time ever, for the first time ever, you got to remember certain shit, because it's like, oh wait, like even though you're a woman, this is actually even though you're a woman and this is great, um there's still rules here. Okay, we still, still rules here. So yeah, that was what that was. And then I think we did it for like all of 3 months. Towards the end of that, I um as we were dating, I was getting to know them more, and then I was feeling like this is not practical for me. One, for because like we're I'm a little older than you, and that's not I'm older than you slightly, so I get slightly. When I say slightly, 3 years, okay? So I feel like there is what I don't like, which is a okay, yeah, the age gap, but like there's still like a, how do I put this? Like generational difference. Even though like, it's that shit matters. That age gap thing will matter, and somebody will just literally be 2 years younger than you sometimes, and then you can tell because of either you could just tell based on like either um what they choose to engage in, their jokes, what they think is important, what they think is serious, all this extra shit. But also what I was seeing was that they just didn't have the same amount of experience that I had, as far as like dating wise and kind of like stuff like that. So I was like, this isn't really making sense either though. Like even though like I really, really do like you, I think that it's fair to admit that this was more of like a physical attraction thing on top of like caring about each other. But it's not, in my mind, I'm still, this is still not making sense for me to just be here. And then I don't want to be the type of, I'm not the type of person, not, I don't want to be, I'm not the type of person that's just going to sit up here and be like, well, I'm just going to like use you as a filler until I get what I want, which is actually another guy, an actual guy. I'm not a real freaking, personally, I wouldn't consider myself an actual, like, I like men. So yeah, but she was the only person that I actually felt like a connection with as far as a girl. So that's what made her like in my mind a little bit more special, because there had been like women throughout like my early 20s that would still try to talk to me or like whatever, and I just never gave them the time of day because I was still not even comfortable with exploring that side of myself, because I always considered it taboo. So I never really wanted to like go into those waters. But finally, like, yeah, I met that person that made me feel like, okay, I actually am attracted to you, and I actually am attracted to you on like a different level too, not just physically. And it feels cool. But also, now that I'm dating you, I'm realizing this isn't helping. Like I'm not. I don't want to. I don't want to. I know what I want, and I although I do think that this was nice, I also think that I wish that I would have not. I don't want I don't want to keep going and then later rip the band-aid off and be like, I just don't want to keep going and then later look up and you're just like, wait, like, because you're a real lesbian. I'm not. That's a real lesbian. I'm not. I'm not a real lesbian. I'm not a lesbian. Like, I like men, you know. But I don't do all these labels and shit. But I know that these labels do matter. But like, yeah, I'm like, I'm a fair person. If I know that I like this, then I feel like that's just real. But I'm also one of those people that, like, if I'm dating you, it's because I actually want to date you. So it's like I dated you because I actually, you know what I mean, like, wanted to date you. But after dating, I realized like that's not smart because there needs to be more. I would like that person to have a little bit more experience, and then there's just other things that I would like to relate to them about that I found that I realized that I really couldn't. So that's what made me have to like have a conversation with them and end that because yeah, I respect people. I respect people's time. I want to respect people's time. Um, and you just learn, you live and you learn. You're just like, you know what? I did want this, but I realized that that's not cool. So I'm not gonna say it's not cool, but I realized like um, it would be more respectful if I just told you how I felt. And these are things that I didn't feel until like after being with them. I'm back. I just rewatched what I was saying, and also I do want to add in that whenever you jump from whenever you do jump from one relationship to another, it doesn't really challenge you. It doesn't really challenge you to like go within and actually assess the reasoning for why you even want to be in a relationship to begin with. Why you even feel like, oh, I want to be with this person. That's what I noticed. Anytime I found myself doing that in my early 20s, just doing that, it doesn't really challenge you to really go within, be real with, like I was saying, you are not challenged at all. It doesn't challenge you at all to really, God damn. Jesus. Okay, now I can talk. It does not challenge you to actually be okay with who you are. It I don't know, something about going from one relationship to another. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not saying that you wouldn't find I'm not saying you wouldn't be able to achieve certain things within yourself and finding that depth and introspection and etc that you would need, but there is a certain kind of there's a certain kind of there's something that you get out of just being okay with being single. That's all I'm gonna say. There you get a certain kind of security when you literally stop thinking about the next person that you're gonna be with, or you know, daydreaming and romanticizing, imagining some romance with the next person. You just kind of let things ride out. You focus on things that are more important for you. You actually have goals, whether or not they're small, big, medium, large, whatever. You I don't care if your I don't care if your goal was let me finish a crossword puzzle. Let me go hula hoop or something. Let me go run a mile. If that's your goal, that's a goal. That's a literal goal. When you're constantly thinking about dating somebody else, or I understand because like you're really trying to access like a feeling. You're really trying to access a feeling. You want somebody to make you feel good. You want somebody to like, give you this kind of validation, external stimuli, all this extra stuff. And although, it can be healthy to experience that too. I think it's also healthy to know how to be okay with yourself, be alone. And then I think you'll start realizing like some of the stuff that you really want out of other people, you already have it. You can still get that feeling in other ways. You don't have to necessarily be in a relationship to feel that. Um, that's all I'm saying. So I forgot the last thing that I said. Because I cut my first video and I was talking about like dating somebody, and yeah, I just wanted to do the right thing because I felt like it was just not. I was like, you know what, I don't see how people do it. I don't see, because that was a 3 year age, maybe 2.5 3 year age difference. I'm like, I don't see how older people in general date anybody below 3 5 years their age. Y'all are weird. I don't care. Y'all niggas is weird, bruh. Y'all niggas is weird. And I get it. I stopped caring about this conversation in a way because um sometimes this is just like a off topic, but sometimes the people that are younger be wanting to date older men any damn way because that's just what they're attracted to. And then also they could be a victim of like um you know abuse, sexual abuse. So there's a lot of different reasons why girls kind of go after like they're okay with dating older men. Sometimes you gotta ask yourself like, why are the girls okay with it though? Like, of course the men gonna be okay with it. They'll fucking date any fucking thing, but sometimes it's like women be attracted to older men because they just really are attracted to older men or whatever. So I was like, damn, how the fuck I can't even date nobody that's like this younger than me. Like that shit don't even feel right for real. And it's not. I'm not saying they were never mature, but they just wasn't. I'm like, oh, like they don't have. I want people with the same amount of experience. So I just think that it's fair for people to also be with their certain amount of experience too. That's fair. That's what I prefer. I don't want to date nobody that don't understand what I've been through, don't understand like, because once you go through it, you ain't even gotta like think about it. Like there's just certain behaviors that you now have or whatever. Anyways, yeah, dating is kind of just also I can blame my method in dating on how I was raised. A lot of us women, especially black women, we're not raised to like we don't get a chance to date. We kind of just, oh, don't date, don't, you can't have a boyfriend, you can't do none of that, all the way to age 18. And then finally you're just kind of like, okay, or you might be getting experience with the opposite sex, but it's not the certain experience that you supposed to be getting with them. You supposed to having social experiences, not sexual experiences, and then trying to date. So a lot of us don't even really know how to date because our parents just kept us from dating. So then we're not really, yeah. But that's, once again, that's a whole nother conversation. So I think people on the internet have also helped me put two and two together as to like why I was always so comfortable with like the casualness of it rather than like actually applying like a formality to it. Like you're supposed to, come on now. And I'm not saying I've never properly dated, but I feel like whenever I have more like whenever like the ball is more in my court, it seems to be like, okay, well, I'm allowing like casual shit to happen, and I don't want this casual shit not really supposed to be happening though. Versus when somebody else is kind of more so taking the lead, it's like they're actually showing me like what it's really supposed to be like. Like I've been through both. Um Anywho, yeah, I think that opposite sex, I mean the same sex dating, that's is great. Is great. I think that it kind of makes you it just kind of frees you in a way because you're just like, oh shit, I just did something that I've been told my whole life this was wrong, and I'm still not about to sit up here and like put myself in no damn club. Like I don't need to label myself as anything. I just know like I moved off of what felt genuine and I genuinely felt attracted to that person. Is that's not a fucking crime. But when you're raised a certain way, that's looked at as like, oh, like you can't, y'all can't. But it's like, all right, honestly, let's be real. A lot of people are fucking. I'm convinced that a lot of people are on the spectrum of homosexuality. It's just that it's always been shunned against because of, once again, the society that we're in, this patriarchy and shit. A lot of people will swing that way if the world would have let them swing that way. I'm just saying. I just feel like it, and I'm not saying that I prefer people to be like that, but maybe if people were a little bit more honest with themselves without and once again, I know that the world doesn't allow you to be honest. Like people are going to put you in a box in their mind and kind of like label you as whatever. The world is not a nice place a lot of times. So I get that. I'm just saying, if people were not afraid to be a little bit more of a rebel or the black sheep that they were meant to be, then shit, like it wouldn't be such a taboo thing. And then also you got religion, Christianity, shit like that. Like I still feel like it's nobody's business, care. I don't care anymore. Does that mean I want to date women? Fuck no, not really. Not really. Honestly, no, not really. Great. They're beautiful. Love them. Y'all look amazing. Y'all are amazing. Still find myself attracted, but I'm not trying to actively like do that. No. And let's be honest, I'm not even trying to actively date nobody. I'm not even trying to actively date anyone realistically. By actually having that experience, it definitely made me a lot more comfortable with myself because that was a part of myself that actually needed to be expressed that I didn't realize. And then just naturally by like getting to know somebody else, you get to see parts of yourself too. So I always appreciate a nice I always appreciate somebody getting like I always appreciate somebody being vulnerable enough to like be comfortable with me to like show them parts of them, the parts that no one else gets to see. I appreciate that because then that's a space for me to also do the same thing, and that's why relationships are beautiful. Um, because only in a romantic relationship do you really get to be the well. I expect that that's the place to be like yourself, and that's where you see the most of your partner or a companion. Like you see the shit that no one else sees. I'm telling you, the good and the bad. So it's always like a sort of playground to like grow and um just understand people more. That's how I look at it. Anywho, this is already a long ass video and I got stuff to do, but yeah, this is just another conversation with myself that I felt like sharing. Um I had to learn to be okay with a boring ass it's okay. Like you don't always need people next to you. You don't always need to be dating somebody. You don't always gotta. And then also, it's a beauty to just be a friend first. Be somebody's friend first. Let somebody be your friend first. Practice that as a guideline first because you don't know people's character. And developing a friendship is actually being able to analyze analyze somebody's character. That in itself is almost like dating. So yeah, I just realized that. I mean, I've been realized that, but I just felt like talking about it, and um I think that also you could only know so much about yourself until you finally date somebody else, and then you might see traits about you that you don't see or whatever. So I think I already said that. Um, being single is a blessing. Being in a relationship is a blessing. Either or. Um, yeah, that's it. I guess that's all I got to say. So hopefully If you watch this to the end, you're amazing. I should hug you. Um, Thank you for listening to me. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Bye bye.